then could you tell us about your next project in Norway and the central station of Stockholm? So what is it?
We have done a series of public art projects that we call Tomorrow's Weather. And that's also a challenge, to make an art piece that deals with tomorrow. And tomorrow, it deals with the next tomorrow. So it's a piece with different molecules that actually contains the sky. And it's in white plastic with RGB lights inside that is connected by internet to Weather Bureau. So the Weather Bureau says it's going to be rain tomorrow. Then these like 60 of different molecules change the color into a different gray color. It's not static, it's moving all the time. More gray on the top, less in the bottom, but then it changes back and forth like that. So it's a living light installation. And we have done it in Kentucky. In Denmark. We have done it here in Central Station, Stockholm. And now we're going to do one in Norway. And I think it's a product that just gets better and better when you have the chance to put it in different spots of the world. So then the dream would be to have an app that you could see through our art piece, the weather in different parts of the world.
Yeah, because the weather is something specifically here in Sweden. I think maybe that's why we're interested in that. Because it's changing a lot. It's 4 very different seasons. And for us, we're always like, should we go out? Oh my God, it's sunshine. And everyone goes out and then realize, oh God, it's cold. So this spring, for instance, was extremely slow. The winter was really long, so people are like depressed. So when there is a sunny day, everyone runs out. So of course, looking at the weather forecast is something you grow up with. It's really important. As a kid, you see your parents looking at the weather forecast. Oh, quiet, it's the weather forecast. So of course, this is something you deal with. But this is like the very now situation, which is interesting to deal with because it's also very, I would say, banal. It's something you talk with your neighbor on the bus about. Oh, it's nice weather today. But then in a long-term period, you know, this turns into climate. I think it's like 50 years of weather, then it's a climate. And this is changing. So we're also looking upon deep time, deep history. So both at the installation here in Stockholm, where these molecules are hanging over a sort of topographical staircase of sediments that you could sort of associate to ice layers. And this is what the climate research and scientists are looking at today. They're drilling down into the ice to see how was the climate like 100,000 years ago. How has it been changing? So this is a way to knowledge about also the future.
But you could say like it's old weather layered, and then we have hanging like tomorrow's weather. So you have a big span between that, sort of. That it's interesting to talk about.
Yeah, and in Norway we're doing also a new stone piece that you can sit upon. And the stone piece is made out of different layers of stones with different time. So the oldest granite, was it like 1 billion years? Because Scandinavia was formed 3 billion years ago. And I think the oldest stone you can find is some 1.5 billion years. So that is interesting when you start studying deep time and deep history. You suddenly realize, Scandinavia was positioned at the equator 500 million years ago. What does our extreme right-wing SD parties think about that? I mean, this time, sometimes you really have to open up the discussions about the future also by looking at deep time. I think that's really interesting. Or maybe it's just because we're getting old.
You gave them one another dimension, like that, one another perspective. They were
Yeah, I mean, this
Oh,
is, I think it's important to mention as we have one, I mean, of course, when you make a public artwork, it's together with all these people. It's the commissioner, Riksbyggen, it's the communication bureau of fraternity, it's the people who are running it, and it's the people who come and visit it. And everyone is using this in their way. You know, we are not going to impose any specific way how to deal with this. We have our ideas, which is about climate and nature and technology, but you know, some people just go there to have a great sauna session, and there might be a communal politician who's using it in her political campaign. What do I know? And of course, the construction and building company, they use it as a PR thing for their new housing that they're going to build. So I think people are using it the way they want, and I think that's like, if you take any art, I think everyone has different ways of looking at it and interpreting it. It's not just one way.
okay. It's a piece.